Welcome to Veteran Business Success, where our mission is to help military veterans win the war at home by starting and growing profitable businesses. You can find more about us online at veteranbs.com. It's just easier to remember that way. And I'm here with my buddy Jimmy Compton, who is a combat veteran and also an entrepreneur. And he's from here in Fort Worth, Texas area, and has a wife and 2 kids, has served overseas, and makes some pretty cool stuff we're going to talk about. So tell me real quick starting out, tell us who you served with and where you were.
Well, I was 9-year active duty Army. Had several different duty stations, but I did deploy to Iraq with 4th ID under Alan West. He was my battalion commander. So I was part of the counterfire effort there. We ran the Q-37, Q-36 radars.
Okay. Now, when you came home, you have a wife and 2 kids also, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like you just came home, you didn't have a whole lot of liability.
Well,
like you had the home front to take care of also, right?
Well, when I was active duty, I wasn't married at that time.
Okay.
All of that came afterwards. Now I did go back as a contractor, so I was working the DoD contracts for 4 years, 4 additional years on top of the active duty service. So
okay.
So that was, yeah. I mean, spent a good time away from my family after that, because my son was 4 months old when I first left to go back contracting, and then in the middle of that, my daughter was born, and I actually left 12 hours after she was born to go back to Afghanistan for my last contract. So
that's pretty tough. I didn't when I deployed, I didn't have my kids.
Yeah.
I was newlywed 3 months prior and then left, and after getting injured and coming home, then we had our kids. And on that note, I had a chance to go back to Afghanistan in 2013 with an organization that brought us back for a week, and it was weird because I had kids at that point. I started thinking, like, why did I really do this? Just because a cool opportunity came up, I'm like, my boy needs a dad. Like,
yeah.
If something were to happen, I don't let that kind of stuff control my decisions.
Yeah.
But it did change everything in my mind about
your perspective,
being so maverick with my decisions and
yeah.
going, it's a little more than about me.
Yeah.
Like, my wife, she'll be fine. Whatever. Like, she'll make it. She's a grown woman. But when it's your kids, I don't know if you experienced that, but it's
I did. It was tough, especially when you're getting closer to coming home.
Yeah.
That's naturally when you're 1,000 times more hesitant to do something or go out on that that one last mission.
The last 5% of the tour.
Yeah, and it's like so I get what you're saying there. It's and it's tough. When I was in 2003, when my wife and I were just dating, deploying to combat, was that's what we'd all been training to do. So I was ready to go. But going back as a contractor, because I was broke. It was a
money talks, right?
Yeah, it was completely
money
different.
talks and something else walks, they say.
Yeah, so it was a completely different scenario going back as a contractor with a newborn son.
Yeah.
And my wife and I, we'd only been married 2 years, so I was a newlywed still. So.
How many years have you all been married now?
We got married in 2006, so 11 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
nice.
She was actually the reason I got out of the military, so it kind of worked out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. You like me are one of the success stories, because that doesn't, as you know, happen very often in the military. I know Camp Pendleton alone, on their own website, they say that for first time enlistment, there's an 85% divorce rate among their troops. And so, like, the fact that you've held together says a lot about who you are and who she is, and your ability to work things together.
I've been extremely lucky, man. My wife is. Well, she's an Army brat. Her dad retired from the military.
Okay, so she gets it.
Yeah. She's been in it her whole life. So, I was extremely lucky coming across her. So yeah.
Okay, so tell me about your business. What is your business called, and what do you do?
Well, these days, I own a company called The Proper Gentleman, and
The Proper Gentleman.
Yes, sir. Okay. And basically, I just I specialize in leather goods for men. Trying to get into doing some stuff for women, but it's a slow road,
Yeah.
So far that's we just do wallets, and here's one that you can see.
Check this out, guys. This isn't just like cheap leather pleather. Like, this is legit detail. I've been looking at this guy's stuff, and it's like good luck trying to copy this, and a lot of people do, and I've seen some of the copies and they're pathetic. I mean, this here is like genuine artistic leatherworking, and not only that, I mean, you gotta smell this thing. I mean, just and the feel of it, it's sturdy, it's thick. I mean, I bought me a genuine leather bag, 100% from an artist in California this past year. I've never paid that much for a bag in my life. And I won't tell you how much it was, but it had 4 digits in the price. But it'll last forever.
Yeah, and that's what I try to do with these. I mean, I try to, each one I make it like it's my own. So, and I've got a good dude helping me now, so I'm able to process a little more of this. But
okay, so you've had to take on assistants to help you meet demand.
Yes.
Now you told me right before we started this interview that you were playing around with something you made for yourself, and then you posted it online and got a bunch of orders, right? Can you tell us that story?
Yeah. Well, that kind of leads into how I got into doing this all together. I mean, because in 2011, I lost both of my brothers, and the youngest brother was shot and killed in a workplace violence incident in Pennsylvania. And then about 35 days later, my oldest brother died in a motorcycle wreck. So losing both of my brothers, in such a short time frame, it was a tough deal for me to, get through. But in the end, I was just looking for something that I could carry with me that, had their mark on it. And a custom wallet was what I landed on. And so I start looking around, start surfing the web for, a custom wallet, and I emailed a couple of makers, and they came back with these, like you're saying, these prices. And my wife, she was the reason that I didn't buy one, so she told me no, because it was too much. And so I sat on that idea for several years, at least 3 years. And when I finally got back home from Afghanistan, I was, working a job, and a coworker there, he and I decided we were going to start working leather together. Okay. And my first project was the wallet that was going to have my brother's stuff on it. That I was looking for in the beginning. And
what did that have on it? Like, what did that look like?
It was basically, I had, I've got this logo here, the Dagwood logo.
Okay. And I'll put that up close here. If you can see it, that's the Dagwood logo?
Yeah, that's he's just basically my little sidekick.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bolo hat, mustache.
Yeah. He's a 1920s hard ass. That's kind of what I like about it. But so I wish I had that wallet with me, but I had him on one side, and it was just Roman numerals on the other side of their birth dates and their death dates, and that was it. So it was a simple design. I posted it on my Facebook, and the next day I had over $1,200 in orders.
Wow.
For custom wallets.
So you literally, there are a lot of business programs out there that say you have to have this process and processes are good, but you literally just made something for you. Mm-hmm. Said, hey, check this out, it's pretty cool, I made this, and a bunch of other people came in and said, man, I've got to have one.
I had no idea that it was, every intention, because I was full involved with an upholstery shop. I had a hot rod upholstery shop at the time, and it was 18-hour days, basically. It was a long,
Okay.
So, and the leather work was just going to be an outlet for that. And so that's why me and one of the guys that worked for me there we started together, and it just
went.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of power in that. You had something you made, but you had somebody else align with you. And this is a good lesson, actually, because I'll tell you, we are taught from day one in the military, don't go anywhere alone. Mm-hmm. Hence the word battle buddy. You don't do anything alone. Yeah. You go take a leak, he goes with you. Yeah. He watches your six. And here's the thing I've realized, that one of the reasons it's so hard to transition out of the military is that you're part of this unit. These guys you live and do life with, you work with 24/7. And then by virtue of getting out, you immediately become that isolated guy who like in a combat zone, you would never be by yourself. Well, you're suddenly by yourself in a foreign world.
The thing, like you're saying, dude, the thing about the military, being in the military, it's it doesn't matter if you and I are on the same squad. You might hate my guts, but if we ever get into some crap, then I don't even have to think, does this guy have my back? Yeah, he got my back. It's,
You all have that flag on your shoulder. And
civilian
yeah.
world, it's not like that. It's a free for all, and and I've experienced in several different jobs. I experienced it, because when I got out of the Army in 2004, I went directly into car sales, and everybody knows that car sales is a cutthroat industry anyway. But
I think they actually have a lower trustability rating than like Congress.
Yeah, well,
and that's hard to get.
They should. So yeah, the car industry, basically the car sales industry was pretty much a big, just bad taste in my mouth for working with and around, just everyday ordinary civilians. I mean, it was a tough transition.
Wait, you come from a brotherhood where there's a code, there's an expectation, like you at least everyone kind of knows their place and in the pecking order and ranking, and also in your position in the squad, maybe by your weapon or what your role is. And I'm with you on that. You get out and it's kind of like, it's like you take an elite guy who's stellar for 4 or 5 years or whatever, and then he gets out and he's in foreign territory, no teammates, no loyalty. I mean, not that there isn't in the civilian world, but it's not like it is in the military. And civilians watching this might not get that, but it's just the truth.
Well, and then something else that I may be just overly paranoid about this, but I also come to realize that civilians that have no idea, what soldiers are like or their mentality or anything like that, they tend to take advantage of that work ethic.
Yeah, because trying to sandbag.
Well, a soldier is more mission oriented, where he's not money oriented.
Yeah.
So that guy is going to want to get that job done no matter what.
Yeah.
Because he's associated with that team, and he's more concerned with the team looking good or getting that job done. Whereas civilians will see that as well, and they will stand back and just let that cat do all the work.
That guy's a workhorse.
And I discovered that in construction.
Okay.
So that was what I was trying to get into after.
So were there any particular resources, whether it be organizations or people, that as you started this venture that helped you really get going and profitable?
I'm sure there's a ton of those types of organizations out there, but with me, I was so slammed with my job and work. There was just no way to seek that stuff out. I mean, everyone knows there's small business associations and there's stuff you can do through the VA and stuff.
Yeah.
But then everyone also knows that stuff takes time.
Yeah.
So, I never took advantage of any of that stuff. I mean, for me, I just got lucky. I never had a mentor. I mean, I've had zero mentors for business. Financial advice. Marital advice. None of that. So it's all been a figured out for myself thing.
Well, and that right there, that's incredible that you've done as well as you have in business, and that you're still married. Because guys who fight, like, no man wins alone. No man's an island, and the fact you have is incredible.
Well, I'm not going to say we haven't. We've been close. Several times, but it's
But you made it, and you are making it. That's incredible, and I salute you for that.
Thank you.
I mean, that's just so uncommon, especially in our culture of military and veterans. What would you say has been, like, if you had to say that is the toughest part about getting in business? Anything at all. There's no wrong answer here. What's been maybe a bigger challenge for you, or that you see?
I would say that my biggest challenge or my biggest fear going into business was not having the capital to operate your business, comfortably. The way you would, everyone wakes up and they see a store full of inventory and bright shiny lights and nice clean countertops. It's nothing like that in the beginning. It's all grit and 23-hour days, and you're eating a cup of noodles, and so it's rough just like anything else, but you have to expect it going in that. So I would think that the biggest thing for me was just the fear of getting over the whole idea that I was going to fail at going into any kind of business.
Or even how much money should I put forward where I'm willing to risk and lose that without putting all my family's money into this and risking tanking us completely.
Yeah, and I've been down that road too. When I came home in 2012, I had a sizable amount of money invested into this upholstery shop that I was part owner of, and it was I went into that business that partnership very lazily.
Okay.
I didn't do any due diligence as far as I didn't research partnership agreements or any of that. All I did was I just gave the guy money, and I got back what I asked for.
what you put into it, right? Which was very little, huh?
Yeah.
So why do you think that was that because you obviously know better than that, or at least at this point, why do you think that was? Was it just a lack of knowledge?
No, because I trusted the guy.
Okay, so you trusted the guy you shouldn't have trusted, basically, which is unfortunately, if you get in business, you're going to hit those people again.
Well, and it's another, and here's the thing, I'm proof that, you know, veterans, there are bad veterans out there as well.
Yeah.
And I got took advantage of by he was a veteran, so just due diligence is why that whole arrangement failed for me.
You know, a good lesson there too is that a lot of people stress this whole social media, connect with as many people, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people I've heard people say, well, you know, Skype and video conferences, that's like the new networking but you know, I mean, I don't care who you are. I don't care how innovative you think you are in business or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe we will ever be able to get rid of this right here.
No.
You and I sitting down man to man, face to face.
Yeah.
The relationship there.
Yeah.
I mean, because you and I, this is the first time we're ever meeting. We've seen each other online on Facebook and whatnot, and Instagram.
A lot, yeah.
But like, we haven't actually ever sat down.
Mm-mm.
But this right here, this is what's most important. Like, if you're watching this and you want to do deals in business, whoever it is you want to do deals with, you need to get FaceTime. And I don't mean iPhone FaceTime. I mean real FaceTime.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to build relationship there, and even not even just pursuing them for the fact that you want something out of them. Get to know them first.
Sure.
Like, a lot of people see what I do, and you know, or a lot of different people, but in particular, some people come to me just because they want speaker training.
Sure. Okay.
I say, okay, why do you want to speak? I want to make money. Okay, well, that's not a bad thing, but why do you want to speak?
Yeah.
You know, I want a big house. I want a nicer car. Okay, but why do you want to speak? Like,
what's your purpose?
Yeah, like, what's your why? You know,
Yeah.
Simon Sinek has a great book called Start With Why, and it's incredible. And like finding out why someone does what they do
Mm-hmm.
tells you a lot about them. If they can't tell you why they do it, it's two things. One, I trust them less, but two, why is a really difficult question to answer if you've never intentionally answered it, because
if you've never asked it yourself, to yourself,
well, Brian, you know, why do you speak? You know, I can say, well, because you know, I like to help people, but it's like my real deep thing is like, I have knowledge that I've gained through my life experience
Mm-hmm.
that I know can save someone's life, and they'll not shoot themselves tonight.
Absolutely.
Like, I know I can help them win their battles. I don't know everything, and I don't claim to, but I know that I can help people win their battles. I know about resilience because I've had to live it, and that's why
you put some shoes on that most people haven't. So I mean,
some combat boots. So it's like, that's why I do. But speaking is what I do. Speaking is like the physical manifestation of why I do it, and you know, so you meet, you know, a lot of different people, but that's one of the greater lessons I know that I've taken away. And what would you say? Let's say you got a new guy. Because a lot of people watching this they're going to be veterans who either are getting out or have just gotten out. They want to be in business. What would one of your best pieces of advice be for them if they want to get into business? They're not in yet, but they're considering it. They don't want to work for someone else. They don't want to be told what to do. They don't want to grind for 30 years, only to be fired 29 and a half years in and not get the retirement. But they want to be independent, because a lot of us are that way.
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell them?
You know, if I mean, it's simple. I mean, you find something that you like to do, you get good at it, and then tell everybody you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just it. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, the money cannot be the main focus of your mission. I mean, it just can't. You know, you have to have long-term goals. It can't be, you know, what I want next week. You know, I see so many people talking about, you know, hang a picture of a new house or a new car or something up, you know, because that's what you want. That's such a shallow approach at long-term success. You know, and I'm like,
I was like, that's the end point? And I'll tell you this, for the people, I'll tell you this through experience, because I wasn't always entirely that way, but I grew up with nothing. So like, my goal was, I want a nice house. I don't want to.
I want it to be a byproduct of what I'm doing now.
I'm one of, well, you and me both, like, I don't want to say, I don't want to sound like I'm like puffing myself up, because I'm not, but like, I'm a person who set high goals and actually ended up achieving them at a pretty young age. I mean, I was speaking to 20, 30,000 people on stages when I was 25. for like a year out of the military. Like, wow, like, whoa, you know, and I wrote a book,
Yeah.
and then they bought a bunch of them, and it was
Yeah.
cool, you know.
Yeah.
And so what I realized is what that showed me was money wasn't entirely a part of me, but it was probably 30 or 40%
Mhm.
of my why, because I come from such scarcity
Yeah.
and obscurity that I never wanted to be in that place again. Well, what I found was the more that was part of my why, the more I got this what I call mountaintop syndrome.
Mhm.
When you actually do achieve the goal,
Yeah.
then you're sitting around going, awesome, but
Now what?
now what? And you can fall into depression from that. I did, because I'm very, if you're like me, I'm very achievement oriented.
Yeah.
And if I don't have something I'm working towards, and I'm making a little bit of progress at least every day, that those are my worst days.
And yeah, and I totally, and I'm a huge fan of progress. I mean, I totally get what you're saying. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's, and you know, and you know, you bring that up. I mean, because if you wake up one day and you are the owner of this company, then that in itself could kill your drive, because what do you got to do from there? You know, you already own the company.
Yeah.
You know, then what? So I mean, it's, I think for the most part, I mean, just being mentally aware of, you know, what's going on and keeping yourself in check. You know, I think that's
Yeah.
because me too. I mean, I'm telling you, I've had my bouts with suicide, or you know, suicidal thoughts. I mean, I come from the pretty similar background as you. I mean, I didn't get blown up by a suicide.
What was your
bomber.
MOS again? I didn't ask
I was
you
a
that.
13. I started out as a 13 Bravo. I was a
Okay.
Canon crew member, and then I switched over to
Okay.
13 Romeo as a radar operator.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's, you know, and I get what you're saying, because I grew up, you know, poverty stricken as well. I mean, the street that I grew up on was called Low Rent Street, so it's, you know, and I get, you know,
They didn't hide anything there, did they?
yeah, but it's yeah, and I mean, so obviously I don't want to go back to that. Obviously I don't want to drive a 1994 Lincoln for the rest of my life, you know, but you know, it's sacrifices that I'm making now to, you know, build this company, because you know,
You know what's different about what you do though, and I can tell when I meet people like you and me, because there's something different. Here's what it is: you're doing something that fulfills you,
mhm,
and the thing about it is people, they think money or the big house is going to be the fulfillment. That's fun, but it's not lasting fulfillment. And when they talk about money, what they a lot of people tend to not realize is that money is simply a byproduct
mhm,
of providing some sort of value.
yeah,
And so you actually hit on two of the three core concepts that I teach. When people say, "What should I do in business?" or "What should I do?" I always say it's the overlapping of these three things.
Yeah.
What are you good at? What do you enjoy? And where does it meet a need in the marketplace?
sure,
So what are you good at? What do you enjoy? Because if you're good at something, I mean, if you enjoy it, that's great. And then if you're really good at it, you can get paid well for it, because
Yeah.
you'll be one of the best at it.
Yeah.
And then when it meets a need in the marketplace, there's demand for it.
yeah,
So it's like this perfect trifecta. I'm yet to see where that doesn't work.
yeah. I mean,
And
it's-
what your answer was the first two.
Yeah.
What do you like? What do you enjoy? Because,
maybe that's why I'm not successful yet. I'm missing that third one.
well, or it could be 1 degree off of a couple things you're not. It could be.
No, with me, my bottleneck is production.
Okay.
It's just because everything we do is made by hand. So
Yeah. You can't
You've only got- yeah, you've
Walmart
only-
produce
yeah,
it.
yeah.
You can't outsource it to China.
I mean, I can, but
You wouldn't get this though.
I
The whole
could- I
American
could
brand
outsource-
thing might
yeah.
get shot in the foot.
Yeah. So that's, you know, my bottleneck is just, you know, making it faster, you know,
Yeah.
whatever. But I do, you know, I mean, I do get what you're saying. It's the demand is definitely there.
Have you ever connected with a guy named Stephen Ken out of Los Angeles?
Mhm.
Oh, he's down in LA. The leather bag I bought
Okay.
is from. He's an artist. He's much like you, and he has Stephen Ken is Kenn, and I'll get you his information
Okay.
later. But he makes like he found this warehouse. His story is he found this warehouse in LA,
Mhm.
like middle of nowhere in the town. Nobody was down there, and it was this probably 5,000 or 10,000 square foot old warehouse, and floor to ceiling it had like old World War II, like parachutes, sea bags,
Wow.
like yeah, and just abandoned stuff, uniforms. And he went in there and he started climbing through these mountains, literally climbing up them, of all this stuff. And he thought, as an artist, he's like, I could repurpose this stuff. Like I could, and so he got some of it. He started cutting things up, and so now he makes like high-end quality couches out of old duffel bags and
opportunity right there, man.
Yeah. And so I would even encourage you to connect with him.
That'd be awesome.
I was in LA a couple months ago. I actually went down to his shop, met him in person.
Oh wow!
And I'm the one who bought his bag last
Nice.
year. And yeah, he's another leather working guy. Probably just a hey, how you doing? I do leather stuff too. Loves the military.
Yeah.
His promo for that bag is why I bought it. And there wasn't even the promo wasn't about the bag, and it was about this kid. Now this real quick, we're wrapping down, but it was this little kid, and he was in this barn, and he was finding this leather bag that was his father's. Well, the father is narrating, and he's a World War II pilot, and he's saying basically, dude, like I'm not a crier, dude, but I can't keep it together when I watch this thing. He said, you know, I didn't get to see it. We just got the orders. I think this will be my last flight. I just want you to know I'll always be with you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm feeling it right now.
Yeah.
Well, the bag was his dad's.
Oh.
And so it's like, I was almost the dad. Like I was almost that guy.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, I don't know. I didn't even care how much the bag was. You know, I waited 6 or 7 months, but I bought the bag.
Yeah.
And that bag is where I take everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I had it with me when I was in LA, but I got to meet him. But that was a really great lesson I learned, is that he attached something he genuinely cared about that he made to something that really matters to people. And it hit me like a ton of bricks, man. So like we'll definitely talk more about doing that with your business later on. But to wrap it up, where can people find you online?
Oh, I'm on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram at The Proper Gentleman.
The Proper Gentleman.
And I've got Twitter too. I don't know what my Twitter is. I think it's Dead or Cowskin Guy or something like that. I'm not very active on Twitter, but my Facebook is The Proper Gentleman. At
The Proper Gentleman.
Yep, at The Proper Gentleman on Instagram, and
Facebook.com//The Proper Gentleman.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I would definitely encourage everyone to go check him out. This is Jimmy, The Proper Gentleman. Combat veteran, makes incredible things. And real quick, pull a couple of those others over. I want people to see these.
All right. Well,
we're not doing a garage sale here, but you got to see some of this stuff.
Well, these right here, this is our newest.
There you go.
Newest line of just single tone color wallets. We're going to call these the single phase Freedom wallets. They're all going to come standard with black suede liners.
Now you have a couple over here too that have some pretty wicked designs that are custom on them too.
Yeah. This
Look
is
at that.
a
Texas
wallet we
flag.
made for a Marine veteran friend of mine.
And then the Eagle Globe and Anchor. And you put a custom message on the middle, didn't you?
Yeah, he wanted it. So.
It says, F you, pay me. That's the biggest question. Where's the money at?
Yeah. And then last but not least, the old War Chief. Everyone's seen these.
That is wicked. That's the kind of thing you see on like
I do have to give Tank Machine a shout out for making these things famous for me. So.
Okay. So he's the guy who helped you promote that?
Oh yeah.
Who's he again?
Tank Machine is Tank Tanksley. He's a Marine veteran.
Okay.
Celebrity veteran, I guess. He does a lot of work with the Black Rifle Coffee and those guys.
Oh yeah.
But he it was 2 days after Thanksgiving. I was doing a 5,000 follower giveaway, and I had one of these made, and I just had it for like 2 months laying around.
Okay.
And I was like, screw it, I'm gonna give it away for 5,000 followers. And I tagged him in it, and that was the end of it.
For doing that for you, let's give him a shout out. What's his handle on Instagram?
Tank Machine.
Tank Machine?
Yeah, you can't miss that guy. Just search Tank and it'll probably come up.
Awesome.
He's got a pretty big following.
So join Jimmy on Facebook and on if you just Google it, or Facebook, Instagram, The Proper Gentleman, Awesome Leather Works, combat veteran. This is the guy. Great example of somebody who started after getting out of the military and is growing a productive business, doing something he loves, and he's making money doing it. So Jimmy, appreciate you, man.
Hey,
thanks for being on.
Yeah.
And again, if you want more videos like this, join us at veteranbs.com. That stands for Veteran Business Success, because our mission here is to help other guys just like us win the war at home by starting and growing profitable businesses.